And hello, we're back. We're going to finish up semester 1 with our first 4 characters from the canon of the canonic characters, the official characters for Living Starship. This is our Academy Preludes, where the characters are all cadets in the Academy, learning all the skills they'll need eventually to run and operate their own starship. And what we have, so Living Starship is a legacy game, meaning that all that you do in one game carries through to the next game and progresses and builds upon each other, not just story-wise, but character-wise. The decisions you make as players will ripple through your entire experience as long as you play Living Starship. And these characters will come and go. They may retire because they've accomplished their goals. They can die on missions, and you'll have to replace them and train new characters. So it's a big, massive experience, and at its core, Living Starship is a roll and write game, meaning that you're going to roll dice and write their results on things. And what we have here is our game board. We have our game board. This is day 5. We've already played through 4 of the 7 days of semester 1. So your first set of 7 games represents your character's first semester, where they're doing a lot of their basic training in the 7 divisions of training in the Citadel fleet of tactical, science, engineering, operations, agency, what am I forgetting? Health and flight. Each of those divisions is represented by a different color. At the end of these 7 games, your characters will have added to their deck 7 more cards, one of each of those division colors. Now, they'll be of different dice values. So there is for health, for instance, with our character Detrex Tari, he's hoping to be assigned to the health division, where he can work in the zoology department. So he wants to do scientific research and work with animals. He's grown up as a hunter, though, in his race. As you can see from the picture, they're big. Maybe you can't tell size from here, but they're big, hulking brutes of people. They've got claws, they've got bone ridges, so they're very hardy and durable. So certainly in the fleet, tends to like to put people of their ethnicity into the tactical division, but Detrex is hoping to go into the health division, which is represented by the color purple. But he, at the end of this game, cannot just add a whole bunch of purple cards into his deck. He will get to add one of them in, because each of the other 4 characters will get one of the other ones. So there's a D12, one that will grant him an extra, or grant a character an extra D12. One will give a D8, one a D6, and one a D4. Because we have our 4 different dice: the 12, the 8, the 6, and the 4-sided dice. And eventually your dice pools are going to get bigger as you have more cards that add dice into your pools. We will improve these cards, improve the values of the dice, and manipulate the dice with different ways. But your deck represents your physical, mental, and social attributes that your character has, and these cards each get discarded when you use them to do various things, like add 2 dice values together. They can be your own dice or shared amongst any of your characters. You can split dice results, like get a big dice result of a 5. You could take 2 points off of that 5, turn it into a 3, and give those 2 points to a different die to turn that 1 into a 3, so then you'd end up with a pair of 3s. You also have some cards that allow you to re-roll your dice results. So we have here, this is day 5. The goal is we're going to be taking these lessons. We have an operations lesson, a science lesson, an engineering, and an agency lesson. We'll complete each of these by filling in 4 dice results in each of these lessons. By filling that in each of those lessons, we will get to put we will be able to, here's the right part, another part of the right part. We will write in on the board the corresponding shape. The object of these games is to fill up as much acreage on these 9x9 grids as possible, because your final comprehensive score from this game of 4 classes will be the width of spaces you've covered times the height, minus 5 points for every pink square that's included within your perimeter. So that's the strategery, if you will, of these first games, is to maximize your space but minimize how much of the pink impediments get included in it. So let's get rolling. If you haven't watched the other part, welcome. If you're new to Living Starship, welcome, and you're going to be on it. If you like roll and write games, this is something that I've not really seen done is in a big old ongoing epic legacy method, where you're actually taking and developing individual characters and blending them together to work together as a crew. You can play this game solo. Theoretically, you could play this game simultaneously with, I don't know, dozens of people, everyone representing a different character when you're on your eventual starship. But what we're doing right now is something slightly manageable for one player. I'm managing all 4 characters. You can do this with one character. You could, as a solo player, you could manage theoretically any number of characters you want. But we're sticking with 4. So what we're going to do here, I've pre-rolled all the dice. And as much as possible, I like for each one of these classes, so if you're new to this and didn't see the first part, this engineering lesson will grant somebody a D4 training card into their deck when it's completed. All we need here are 2 even dice results and 2 odd dice results. They can come from any combination of 1 or more characters' dice pools, because they're all working together for 1 cumulative score as a group, not necessarily as individuals, though you can track individual scores too if you want to see who graduates in your group. Summa cum laude. I don't know what that means there, because there's summa. Anyway, whoever graduates best, best in the class. So let's just get going. So what we have here, we need 4 of a kind. We need 2 evens, 2 odds. We need 2 pairs, and then the sequence for the D8s. We need each number has to be greater than the previous number on the card. So like a 1, 2, 3, 4 or a 1, 2, 4, 5. Zeros can be used on most of these cards. This could be a 0, 1, 3, 4, 0, 1, 3, 5. It's just each one to the right has to be bigger than the previous one. My nose is running, sorry. So let's get going. That sequence, or the 4 of a kind, the big agency. None of these characters are going for agency. You can watch the previous video if you want to hear a little bit about how I talk about a little bit of the backgrounds of each of these 4 characters, which when you have your own copies, you'll be able to flesh those out a little bit, as little or as much as you want, because many of those details will eventually have potential impact on the various missions that your characters will be sent on. But nobody out of this group is going for red agency. They could still get assigned to it, depending on their scores and things. But that'll happen at the end of your entire academy days. But no, so nobody's itching for this D12, but it is 4 of a kind, and it could be 4 zeros. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 3 0 results out of all of our dice. I don't think, because nobody cares. We're going to go ahead and do that. Take the 0 on Detrex's D8, 0 on Menju's D8, 0 on Sophie's D4. We don't have a 0 over here, so it feels weird. But Tanny Daegu is going to, he's got a 1. That was the result we had here. A 1 on his D4. He's actually going to spend 1 of his 3 remaining uniform charges, which allows you to either add 1 or subtract 1 from a dice result, to turn that 1 into a 0. Feels weird. And I haven't decided exactly what that's going to mean. So this is our 3rd agency class this group has taken. We get a 0 in there. You notice we've also gotten a 0 in one of our flight classes, and we got a 0 in a tactical class. I feel like that needs to have some sort of impact in the end if you've actually failed a lesson as a group. But at the moment, I don't know what or if that's going to be anything. I think it needs to be. I'm open to suggestions. But for now, did take a 0 in that class. We get this big old chunky shape, which feels like thematically that's not how it should work. But, we do need to be able to fill in the shape. Oh, maybe it penalizes or it makes you put in a smaller shape, or makes that shape. I don't know. I've got some thoughts working. But anyway, so one last thing is when you start this grid, you can start anywhere, but your first shape has to be stuck or attached to the outside edge of the grid. And the next shape must be placed next to, in touching, not diagonally touching, but full on one side touching one of the existing shapes on the board. So I want to minimize the amount of pink squares I'm taking in. So you know what? I'm going to put it there. This is agency, which the agency is red color in the fleet. They call it ruby. And in this entire setting, I don't think there's gemstones in the way that we think of gemstones. So ruby is also a type of metal. That's the whole thing. It comes from the Living Empires saga. We'll talk about that some other day, some other live stream. But we've got this one agency class or lesson done. Ta-da! Next hard thing is this sequence. We have all our zeros used up. So we do have two of our characters here. Both Menju and Tanny are hoping to get assigned to Science Division. This is the Science D6, so not caring a whole lot about this one at the moment. The sequence is a little harder to do. Since we've gotten rid of all of our zeros, we'll do a 1. Oh, he's got a 2. So here, we'll do this. A 1 and a 2. Need somebody's, Sophie's got a 3. Oh, nobody, she's also got a 4. I like to try to even it out as if I were tracking each of my characters' individual scores. I'm not this game, but so 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Also known as a straight. Though this score doesn't have to be in order, but 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a score of 10. This is our fourth and final operations class. 10, 22, 32. It's our total score as a group in our first semester of Academy. Score of 32 in operations. And that gives us this big L shape. Now, one row is that these shapes cannot overlap the pink impediment spaces. They must touch 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, look at this. Here's what I'm going to do. 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and 1 over. So how the comprehensive score works is that at the end of these, once we've filled in all 4 of these shapes, having completed these 4 classes, we're going to take the entire perimeter of all the things we've filled in. So right now we've got 7 high and 2 across, so 7 times 2 is 14. And right now it includes 1 pink square, which is minus 5 points for every pink square. So right now we have 9 comprehensive points. Let's do the 2 pair, because the even and the odd is the easiest. 2 pair in science. What do we have 2 pairs of? We have 2 3s and 2 2s. Let's do that. 3, 3, 2, 2. Everybody is contributing to a dice, or contributing to the lesson. Let's say 3, 3, 2, 2. Cool. So if I were tracking individual scores, I would mark those down personally, but I'm trying to do 4 characters. I can't do that and talk to you all at the same time. So this is a score of 6, 8, 10 points in science. This is our first science class. Wow. So these last 3 days are going to be very sciencey. Score of 10 there, which means at the end when we're divvying this up, somebody will get the D6 science card added to their deck. And we have this shape. Ooh. Let's go for making some greater width, shall we? By doing this, it's now going to wrap in all 4 of these pink squares. But you know what? I'm pretending I'm okay with that. Cool. So now our entire perimeter is 7, 8 high, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide. 8 times 6, 46, right? Yeah. Oh no, 48. I'm good at math. And then that brings us to our final lesson of this day, of day number 5 of semester number 1. We need 2 even numbers and 2 odd numbers. Oh, look at that. We have a 1 and a 1 and a 1 and a 3. So we've got our odds taken care of, 3 and the 1. Let's take those 2 out. Now we have a 1. So now we need 2 even numbers. You know what? One thing we haven't done yet, this is a social lesson, meaning that any of our social cards, I'm going to do a social reroll from Detrex on his die. Physical, which is his presence. So character's presence. You know, some people, sort of like charisma in D&D, sort of, Dungeons and Dragons, but their presence. You know, how some people walk into a room and you can just like almost like feel them enter. You just notice them right away. Not necessarily because of how they look, but it's the way they carry themselves. Or some people just radiate this aura or this presence. But anyway, so his presence card allows him to re-roll 1 die on a social activity, in which this is. Got another 1, but he's spent that, so he can't do that again. Something I explained in the last game is that you can discard any 2 cards from your deck to duplicate 1 action that's available to you. In this case, he's going to duplicate that social reroll. These cards that add dice together in this first round, in your semester 1, this first set of 7 games, adding dice together is doesn't really help. And we will get all our cards back at the end of this first semester, but not at the end of each of these days. He's just going to discard 2 of those combined cards to do another social reroll. Okay, spent enough. He's going to spend a third of his 6 uniform charges. They're computerized fabric uniforms to turn that into a 2. You know what, Menju? She's going to try a reroll. Her social reroll. So discard the 1 social reroll card. Please be a 2. There we go. That's more like it. A 2. She was socially less awkward than Detrex, I suppose. He had to really work for it, and he still failed, and just ended up using his computerized uniform. So anyway, what do we have? 4, 6, 8, a score of 8 in this engineering class. Alrighty. And gives us this big 3x3 L, which, do we want to maximize height? We're already including all 4 of these pink things. So if I do the L this way, I get 9 high times 7 across. Cool. There we go, which equals what? This is embarrassing. 9 times 7. 10 times 7 is 70. It's 64, isn't it? I don't even have. Minus 5, 10, 15, 20. No, it's not 64. It is minus 20 because in our entire perimeter here, 9 by 9 vertically and 7 horizontally, we include 1, 2, 3, 4 pink squares. That is minus 20. It's 63. 53, 43. This is our first really good score on an individual day. What did I say? 43. Because you can see our previous days had an 11, a 15, a 16, and a 17. Been in the teens. So this day, we've done really well for ourselves. Feeling good. Cool. All right. Moving on to day 6. New grid, new classes. We have the flight D6, agency D8. Oh, those are both D8s. Flight and agency D8. Holy cow, science D8. This is going to be tricky. And science D4. So the D4s are the easiest because we just need 2 evens and 2 odd results, which gives us a lot of flexibility. Then the D8s are all those sequences. So we're going to have 3 different sets of sequences. And we need our 4 shapes. A little stubby T. Ooh. Alrighty. Okay, what should we start with? I think we'll leave the science D4 to last. I said most flexible, so science D8. So we've got 2 people wanting the good science dice. One of them will get the D12 card, one will get the D8 card, which this one provides us. We don't have to decide that now, obviously. Hopefully that's obvious. And let me think. So we need sequences. Zeros are usable, so let's find. Oh wow! Oh no, 2 zeros. Sophie wasn't so good, wasn't so effortful this round. We'll start with one of her zeros to start this off. She also has the other 0. Next number has to be bigger, so we need a 1. Pick a 1. We need a 2. We need a 3. All right, this feels good. Score of 6 in this science class. We get this big old chunk, big old 6 square rectangle. Where do we want to start? Do we want to put it like right in the middle there? I feel like this is our most open space. So I think we're going to do that. Maximizing width over height for no particular reason. Obviously, if there were more of us playing simultaneously, we might have different opinions in different ways, things, and we discuss that. I'm not having that discussion inside my brain. So, we need our next sequence. It's just for asses and giggles. Agency, red. Oh no, here's another 0. Menu had a 0. We're going to take Dtrex's 1, 0, 1. We need a 2. Who's got a 2? Who's got a 2? Who's got a 2? Oh, Dtrex has a couple 2s, so he'll be offering more here. And then we need a 3 or higher. Got lots of 3s. Sophie's got a 3. So another score of 6. That's excellent. Yeah, 6. So we have completed our agency training for a total of 16. Feeling a little peaked there. I guess none of these characters will be diplomats or lawyers. And we get to put in this stubby T. I think maybe we're just going to do this. Or do we want to do something like, oh no, let's do this. Work some verticality. Now we can rotate these, but we cannot mirror image. Well, in this particular shape, doesn't matter. The mirror image is the rotation. But on shapes like this, cannot do the mirror image. That card does exist in the deck. But you can rotate them as you need. So we couldn't have done that rotation because it would put over the pink. We're good. It's giving us some height. Doesn't help increase the width. It's cool. So then flight, which is silver. I don't have a silver dry erase, so black it is. Another sequence. We have, oh yeah, Sophie's 0. Need a 1. Need a 2. And then a 3 or higher. Who hasn't done? Menu, 3. So again, a 0, 1, 2, 3. So yet another score of 6. This one goes to flight. We have this L with a tumor on it. So if we were to put this shape going up, its width would force us to include that pink and both of these pink. If we did it over here, you get 3 width, without adding any additional pink. But it's not helping us on the height. We could get one more height out of this. So I think we're going to put it in this rotation. Oh, whoops. That's a little nub. We're going to do, oh, no, I can't do it there. My bad. We could do it this way. Put the little nub there. 1, 2, 3 there. And the little L shoot off there. That works. So we've maximized our height. We have not added any pink to it. Not maximized our height. Gotten one more higher. So we're now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 high and 4 wide. 6 times 4 is 24. That one I can do. Cool. So our final one is the science D4. This is easy. We need 2 even numbers and 2 odd numbers. What do we have? We have 2 even numbers. We have a 4 and a 2. Look at that. 4 and a 2. And we have 2 odd numbers, a 1 and a 3. So no need to spend uniform charges, no need to spend cards, attribute cards, altering the dice. So, oh, that's 4, 6, 8. That's a score of 10. Lesson number 3 of science. And we get this L shape. So if we put it here, that's going to include those 2 pink and this one over here. If we put it here, it gives us more height, keeps that one out. So let's do that. As I said in the previous stream, I'm not overthinking all of this. I just want to kind of get through it. This is meant to be demonstrative, not strategical. But that puts that L in. So here is our comprehensive perimeter. We have, it's only 4 across, but 8 high. This is a 9 by 9 grid. It's 4 across, 8 high. That's 32. And we only include 2 pink, minus 5 points for each pink, so that's minus 10. So that puts us at 22 for our comprehensive score on day 6. At least it's not in the teens. But just about half of what our previous day was. Maybe we're getting tired. With that, it's day 6, and here we are on to the final day. Day 7, our final 4 lessons, our engineering D8, science D12, which our 2 characters are really hoping or wanting to get for themselves, tactical D4, and flight D4. So this feels like it's going to be a pretty easy day. It's got 2 sets of just evens and odds, 1 set of 4 of a kind, and just 1 of those sequences. So, next thing we have to do is roll all our dice. We do not get to, between days, we don't get to refresh our deck of cards, so our discard cards stay discarded for this entire set of 7 games, which are, we call semester 1. Ooh, they're looking pretty good. There's only 2 blanks from Detrex. Everybody else got at least 1 or more. A result of 1 or more. 1 or higher. Oh, we need our final 4 shapes. Ooh, that's a big one. It's a relatively small one. Okay. Feeling good. Got lots of open space here, so I think we're going to start over here somehow. Somehow, some way. Let's get this engineering out of the way. It's hardest. We can use a 0. So the 0, we'll use a 1, use a 2. Sophie's going for engineering, so she's hoping their cumulative engineering score reflects pretty highly. So you know what? She's going to put in a 3. And then we don't have a 4, so it will be the 5 from over here. So we have 0, 1, 3, 5. That's 8, 9 points for this engineering. Not so bad. Totals us out. That's 22, 31 plus 8 is 39. So our total engineering score is 39. Feels pretty solid. We get this big thing here. I think we're going to work vertically on this. Right, once again, we have to start on the edge. So far, no pink, but it's 2 by 5, which by itself, not so bad. Next hardest, this D12, we need 4 of a kind. They could be 4 zeros. Did that and did a couple earlier ones. So as I said, I'm not sure what the flunking score should mean or will mean, but we only have 1 0. This is science, so again we've got 2 characters that want the score to reflect well in science. So what do we have in the way of big numbers that are 4 of a kind? We have a couple 3s, a 3, no 3s there. We have 3 3s. That feels pretty good. You know, as I said, I'm not going to overthink all of this. A 3 and a 3 and a 3. Detracts wants to feel contributive. It's not a word, but I'm using it. I'm going to use a uniform charge to turn his 2 into a 3. We've got 4 3s, which gives us our final science score of 12 in this lesson. And the total science score is 32-38. Nice. Not so bad. They're feeling good about this. And then we get to put in this shape. Maybe let's work width. And it can't be diagonal, so we're going to do starting here. 2, 3, 4. The question is, do we want the nub there? Or do we want the nub up there? Oh, man. Let's see. Got this sort of funky Z shape. You know what? We're gonna put it up here. It doesn't help our score either way. So, all right. Last 2 lessons of semester 1. We have a tactical green. Let's just do that. We need 2 even numbers and 2 odd numbers. So there's an odd 5 and a 1. Those are our odds. We need 2 even numbers. This is the one where it can't be a 0. So we have a 4 and a 2. Seems good. 4 and a 2. Once again, yeah. So Ditrex is skilled at sort of the tactical military things. So the score is maybe reflective of his contribution to this. Score is what? 6, 10, 12. So we got a score of 12. So collectively as a team, it's 22-28. It's total score for tactical for semester 1. And that provides us with this L shape. So now, put it here. It's going to wrap in all 3 of these pink. Oh, actually, if we do it here, let's do it this way. Give us more height. But still going to incorporate those 3. It's unavoidable. Then our final lesson is in flight. Maybe this is navigating our big starships. Maybe this is an introductory lesson to that. We just need 2 evens and 2 odds. We have a 1 and a 2 and a 2 and a 0. Can't use that 0. So he's going to, this is the end, so it doesn't matter. You know, we've been pretty conservative on burning through uniforms. He's used 5 of his 6 uniform charges. He's going to turn that into a 1. So that's an odd. Somebody else. So if he's got a 1, oops, yeah. And then our 2 even numbers, we got a pair of 2s. 2 and a 2. Everybody's done. That wraps it up. 2, 4, 6. So we have another 6 in flight. So that makes our flight total 16 plus 12, 26, 28. There we are. You know, if I knew where my phone was, I'd have a calculator. Oh, there it is. So we'll do this fast, and I'll take up your time while my brain tries to computate. So what we're going to do here, oh, you know what, final thing, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm scared of the math. We've got to put in this shape for our comprehensive score. So put it that way, doesn't help either our width or our height. Put it there, give us 9 height. Put it there, it gives us width, but it's going to add in all of those. So I think the best we can do is this right here. Only makes our height 9, and our width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what, 56, right? 54. And our perimeter, whew, that's our perimeter. The 9 by 6 is 54, but we include only 3 of these, so minus 15. Minus 15. Until it's getting later in the day, my brain is really slowing down. 39 is our final comprehensive score. So we got a score of 39 here. What we do is we'll add up all of our class scores. So it's 16 plus 39 plus 28 plus 44 plus 32 plus 38 plus 28 equals 225. When you end up with this game, if you register your scores, your results, we'll have the website with a big old database of everybody's scores and graduations and names and characters and motivations and all of that sort of stuff. You'll be able to see how your team ranks against other teams going through the same semester. So that's a score of 225 on the classes. Then we're going to add up all of our comprehensive scores. So 11 plus 15 plus 16 plus 17 plus 43 plus 22 plus 39 equals 163. There we have it. This would be like the backside of the score sheet. Our plan is also have an app, and you can just be able to add enter all of these figures into the app, and it can do all the math for you. But I'm having to do it old school right now because we have not even started building the app yet. So our class total is 225. Our comprehensive total is 163. Though some people really just love having, especially it's a roll and write game, we want to be writing stuff, right? So I'm thinking we're going to have little scorebook journals that we can keep track of. So you have like a paper copy with it. Totally optional, of course. So we have 163 plus 225 equals 388. And this is one of the first times I've done an entire run through of the entire semester. So I don't necessarily have a feeling of whether this is a particularly high score, particularly low score. I feel like it's relatively average. I think thematically that those fail scores, we had a 0 in tactical and in flight and in agency, should incur some sort of perhaps score penalty, and have some, and there'll be, because this is a legacy game, that might have some, because it's only your first semester. It's like your first semester of freshman year. If you screw up a class in your freshman year, when you're a senior, that might be much more measurable. So I don't know if this would have long-term effects, but maybe just like for the next game, maybe a slight penalty of some sort. At the very least, it should. I mean, obviously, it's zeros in your score, so it lowered your overall score compared to how others might do. But so what we would do is then at the end of this, dropped my dice, is that what we now have is our initial set of training cards. which I don't have with me. But there is one of each of these 7 colors. So it'll be a D12. You can sort of write it out. So each of these, there'll be a D12, a D8, a D6, and a D4 card, training card, that will then be divvied out. Every character must have 1 card from each of the 7 divisions. So at the end of this game, you'll return all of your cards from discard back to your deck, and you'll be adding in these 7 training cards. So 1 agency, 1 engineering, 1 flight, 1 health, 1 operations, 1 science, and 1 tactical card, each of which will, when you discard it, will add in a dice of that color to your dice pool. So if you have the D12 agency card and you're doing an agency thing, you'll be able to discard in semester 2 that red agency card and add a D12 into your dice pool. We'll go over that when we do this live stream and give you a walkthrough of semester 2, at least as it stands right now in prototype form. So thank you for joining me. My name is Layman Kingsford. I'm the creator of Living Starship. This is my channel, so please feel free to like and subscribe to this channel, especially if you are intrigued by Living Starship and want to keep tabs on all this behind the curtain stuff, or as maybe a fellow designer, you're sort of interested in seeing how the process works for me for designing games. This has actually been in the works for over 10 years now, and it's really finally starting to gel into its final format, because that's another discussion. It's really coming along, which is why I'm now starting to show it. And stupid pandemic, normally I'd also be doing this live in person at various game shops and game lounges and conventions, but we don't have those right now. So hopefully vaccinations are coming soon for many of us. A lot of people are starting to get them. Many more of us won't be seeing it till late spring. For us, it's probably looking more like summer, hopefully not the fall. But we'll be getting it, and then hopefully we can do gaming in person again too. That would be super exciting. But anyway, so join us here. You can also check out development. We've got keep a blog on cheekydingo.com, or it's also laymankingsford.com. Stay tuned here, and we'll be keeping you up to date. And thank you for joining us.